Alright guys, so this is the finished product. I'm going to tell you the do's, the don'ts, the real tea about wash and goes, especially for my kind of hair and my trial and error. I have never had a perfect wash and go, and wash and goes are so tricky. They sound so easy, but there's a reason why most girls do not do them. First tip for you guys, products do make a difference. Why is my camera not? There we go, baby. Camera acting crazy. You actually have to use less with wash and goes, and you have to be really careful. You kind of want to let it dry the most way that you can, because wash and goes flake so easily. And when I tell you the products that you use for your twist outs that are perfect, never flaked and never do anything, will be the same products that flake during a wash and go. And that's actually what I'm going to tell you for my experimentation. So as you guys can see, I use my Camille Rose Coconut Style Setter in the Coconut Eco Gel, which I have used 800 billion times for my twist outs. Always love it to perfection. My hair always comes out amazing, and I did that for this, obviously. I've seen in other videos, like I watched Nate2 Curly's video, and she only did a leave-in, and she did a gel too. I should have took her note when she said this time I'm going to use a spray leave-in instead of a cream, because the creams seem to be playing games. I should have did the same thing. For instance, I'm very heavy-handed, so while most of my hair is okay, I remember back around in the middle right here, I was really heavy-handed, and there was a little few pieces right here. Most of my hair is fine, but I noticed that the areas I was very heavy-handed, or the curl wasn't coming out the way I wanted to, so I kept going back over it, those areas started to flake. I almost freaked out. I thought I couldn't save my hair, so that's why you guys saw I put a little spray oil. I even went back and threw some water on some pieces in my back to kind of like get it back going together. Also, do not be overly heavy-handed with your gel, because that will cause flakes. Like when it comes to your ends and stuff like that, do not put too much gel on your ends, because your ends are going to be the large portion that flaked. Like while you're going through and smoothing, if you did put a lot of gel, just smooth that gel out. So obviously, lesson learned here is in my middle, which is a part of my hair that gets on my damn nerves. Be very careful there. I definitely should have smoothed out my ends more and smoothed off the gel more and not been as heavy-handed. Another tip for wash and goes is shrinkage is going to be a big deal. You have to kind of know how you want your hair to look and be prepared for it to shrink. Especially looser curls, maybe not as much, but really coily hair like mine is going to shrink a lot, people. Like, so if you guys can see that, like, look, that's a lot of shrinkage. Depending on how you want your hair to look, make sure you get something that you know is going to elongate your hair, and make sure you let it dry before you go to sleep. Like, I don't particularly suggest going to sleep with wet hair, because it's not going to probably look how you want it to, especially if you have curly, really coily hair. Make sure you super duper duper detangle your hair before you start the gelling and product process. Trust me when I tell you, it is the worst thing to get to a chunk of hair that still has knots or shed hair in it. It's going to make it 8 times harder to get those knots out, and leaving your hair to dry is going to make those knots worse. So that's definitely a pointer. I think right here again, which is my problem area, I didn't detangle the way I needed to, and so I had found some knots in there and some tangles, and I was like, and the thing is with wash and goes, you kind of can't manipulate your hair too much as you're going. Like, you don't want to be trying to comb your hair out and separate and like force separate or anything like that, because it's going to cause frizz. So that's another tip. Make sure you detangle, people. Detangle, detangle, detangle. I can't say it enough. If you guys have hair like mine, or just any kind of type 4 hair that's really coily, really unruly sometimes, really thick, you have to be super duper careful when you're doing a wash and go. I say that because, you know, while you're applying the gel and stuff like that, you're kind of technically pulling on your hair, and you don't want to pull your hair out. Like, you don't want to cause breakage, so you have to be really gentle, especially because our hair is naturally coiling in back on itself, and you don't want to snap any hairs or anything like that. In your more coily sections of hair, do smaller sections. If you guys run into any single strand knots while you're going, which I did, single strand knots, I don't know if you know, it's just like when the hair coils in on itself and then knots. I get them sometimes on my ends. If you get that, I'm not afraid to cut my hair. I don't know about anyone else. But if I get a little knot, I just snip the end out because it's really not going to make a huge difference in the mass of this. So don't leave knots in your hair and then let them set, because that knot is not going to be a fun time later. You're going to end up snapping your hair. This is a style that takes forever to freaking dry. I actually want to suggest wash and go. Like, allow yourself enough time out without your hair tied up or anything like that to let your hair dry. And trust me when I tell you, because I've done this too, you do not want to do your wash and go really late at night when you got to go to sleep and then put it under a bonnet or whatever because you got to go to bed. Tying it up allows the moisture to stay in there and allows your curls to smush together, so you really don't want to go to bed with wet hair, because trust me when I tell you, your curls are going to look mushy and not cute the next morning. While oil is great for moisture and sealing, oil also makes my curls kind of swell. It generally causes my hair to frizz or puff out, so that's not a thing I would tell you guys to do if you're going to do a wash and go. Separation, people, separation. So as you guys can see in the earlier part of this video, do not force your hair to separate, if that makes sense. So while you're sliding your hair down with the gel and stuff like that, and you're pulling apart the curls, separating, separate it where your curls naturally trying to pull apart. Don't force it to pull apart, because that will cause frizz. So that's definitely a big tip. Do not force any separation. You just really don't want to do too much manipulation or forcing on wash and goes, because it's not going to be cute and it's going to cause a lot of frizz. And I think my last tip for you guys is, which kind of goes along with that, is do not play in your hair. Do not. I have a bad habit, and I do play in my hair a lot. It's such a bad habit because it's really not good for your hair. I have a habit, I'll just be sitting and watching TV and start separating my curls or playing with them. Don't do that with this kind of hairstyle, because it's just going to make your hair worse or not cute or frizzy. So that is the gist of it, you guys. Please, if there's something else you guys can think of that you have a question about, ask me in my comments, send me a message, because I want you guys to learn as much as I'm learning as I go. But one thing I've learned is, even though we're watching all these videos, you have to learn what works for your hair. So yeah, that is it, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Remember to subscribe. And until next time.